Say everything recording. Screen. What's going on, people? Peace, love, and light to y'all. Islamism. Back with another video after so long. It's been a minute. It would have been clear if I would have did a video on 720, which I probably am. The video I'm working on right now, or the video that I'm gonna do now. I might get a little deep in the topics, I might not. I just know I haven't been on in a minute. Do the personal life things, situations. A lot of good stuff happened to me. I found a few connects on things, found some new people that's connected to things, all that type of stuff of that nature. I've been paying attention to what's been going on in society. I know it's a lot of deflation going on, inflation, bank shutting down, worldwide things on that subject. Me personally, I've been kind of sitting back studying a little bit. Today I've been sitting down writing stuff down, trying to get my mind back sharp because I haven't really been too deep on my studies. A lot of that stuff is in the heart, but I ain't been too deep on my studies. I mean, I know where I can go. I know where to go directly to when I need a source of information. But like how a church person know the Bible off the top of their head, like they know exactly which scripture, what it say, stuff like that, which I do on some stuff, but I'm not just like, I ain't just been super deep into my studies to where I'm on that level, honestly. I just know that when I present something, I know how to go pull something up and look up what I'm talking about, especially if I know it's in there. It's like a 7 Quran, the Bible, stuff like that. It's just a little small, brief video. I actually wanted to talk about, name of this video gonna be Triple C's. Codified Crayola classifications. And in all my videos, I always spoke on how not necessarily nationality, if you don't want to just take it like that, but status and stuff like that is important. Let me pull up, let me share my screen. Share the screen. We just gonna share it. I'm right now like this little chart, and I had kind of just made up like a little name. Made up a little name. You think about the word estate, a lot of people think about property and things of that nature and trust, but estate is also what you kind of pretty much, it's kind of also has to do with a state of mind and your status or a condition. Like right here, the archaic literary definition of a state is a particular state, period, or condition in life. Programs for the improvement of man's estate, similar state, condition, situation, position, circumstance, lot, fate. Okay. And right now, a lot of people's estates is at a deadly fate in so many ways. People who are unaware of this information, people who feed into government assistance and things of that nature. Not necessarily saying people get government assistance is bad, but just people who will absolutely not get up off their tail and try to go do nothing, do no work, try to hustle, try to deliver something privately for themselves to somebody else privately. Like people that just demand government assistance. Like they don't want to do anything. They want the government to take care of. No liability, no accountability at all. I made a Facebook status saying that demons lack accountability. They despise liability. And that's very true. All right. As I was saying about the estate and extensive land, this is pretty much like what everybody normally would think an estate is: an extensive area of land in the country, usually with a large house owned by one person, family, or organization. Property, grounds, parkland, garden, tract land holding, manor, domain, territory, uh, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of times, like you see, this is a British correlation, a housing or commercial development. You realize, like, when you go to those certain apartment complexes, or just subdivision homes, where the houses is built in there, they have what you call the title estates right behind it. You know, like there might be some apartments, they might be called uh, Parkland theory estates, just like making some up. It's that, and it's that in that situation, which is like a noun. And actually, I like how they kind of put it. Actually, the noun actually shows that there's three types of estates. You know, a property where coffee grapes cultivated, and you see right here it says plantation, farm, hold, and forest, things of that nature. But the key word right here, what gets me is plantation. You watch all those slave movies and stuff about when people have slaves and things of that nature, and it just make you sit there and think, like, okay, um, was that property that they own belong to the people that they enslaved? And most of the time it do, because a lot of times back in the day, when people would do, when they were colonizing, or whatever you want to call it, and was on that Christian crusade, is, you know, they would kill everybody who knew everything, anybody who was too smart. That's why you watch those movies and they be like, oh, this nigga, he's too smart, you know, whatever. They try to use it as a talk of what's the word? This particular word I want to say. They want to come at you like that in the form, as a form of intimidation, because they're intimidated. So but the whole time, that's why they do how they that's why they did what they did. That's why they um executed the people who had the knowledge. Because if they know that everybody else that was under those people was not as in depth of information as the heads would, then they know they could easily control them by using what they say methods of pain and pleasure or whatever, which is how the physical is controlled. Um, so yeah, but that's what this is about. You see stuff like that, you realize that one of the similar things is plantation. It's it's kind of it kind of make you sit there and think, like, okay, you kind of look at this stuff a little deeper, and you see plantation. You see the definitions where it's stated in the state on which crops such as coffee, sugar, and tobacco are cultivated by resident labor in the area in which trees have been planted, especially for commercial purposes. A colony, historical. You see what I'm saying? Colonized, plantation. So that's part of the big game. That's the big what they got going. What all this stuff is about, all the years of hiding history, hiding facts. Man, it's probably books that's missing out the Bible that was talking about how these people is gonna try to, like, you know, force everybody into like a Hunger Game type situation, to where everybody, like the Squid Games, like all this, they put stuff in TV shows. I actually been with friends and stuff, and I've been watching certain shows that's been put on, and I actually been watching TV a lot more. Not just like any TV, but TV that's just like shows and series or movies that even if it's a superhero movie or something, sci-fi movie, just stuff that's kind of can explain, or it directly breaks down what they're doing in today's time. You know, movies like Alter Carbon, movies like or not movies, series, because Alter Carbon is a series. Series like Alter Carbon, series like Utopia, series like What's another series? Spell. They got a show called Spell, talking about how the church folks pretty much under a spell and they using voodoo and the Holy Spirit is like a voodoo-like spell that they put on people, kind of keep them in trap. Just stuff like that. Movies like Jupiter Ascending, when she had to go through so many phases to nationalize or correct her status during tax situations and having to get seals and things of that nature. A lot of stuff, but the plantation thing, understanding how it's connected to the state. You sit here and you think about why people are classified as legal persons and things of that nature, and why these people come over here and try to hijack the land. It makes a lot of sense. It makes definitely a lot of good sense. People don't try to look too deeply into stuff, but this is the part of the reason why. I had the Social Security thing pulled up. I was kind of just reading that about all these little plans and assistance and things of that nature, where they kind of talking about Secretary of State, Secretary of the Treasury, payments to states, like all these like programs and shit that they came up with just to kind of really keep us down. But another thing I realized I wanted to share too is the commons definition. Use a dining hall or land and resources collecting or affected to a whole of a community. All right, communities come together, form trusts, form nations, and they rule the world and they stay true to their religion. Meanwhile, you come over here to America and people get freedom of religion. They try to confuse people. People jump from this religion to that religion, bashing this religion, not even really understanding effectively how it could be used. So there's a lot of ways that they use certain stuff against us. But most of the stuff is because we lack the information. And nobody is trying to figure out what is going on. Gatekeeping info. What's the word codified mean? But I said I wanted to call this video codified. Codified. Arranged laws, a systematic code. That name just kind of came to me. All right. Arrange according to a plan of system. All right. That's what's going on. This is the reason why understanding the state of mind is important, or understanding the definition of a state is important, because it's more so talking about your state of mind and you being able to handle things on your own and handle your own affairs. This is why the Moors and Overdraw Ali and all the ancient forefathers taught Islam, Asaf Master, even Nation of Islam, guiding yourself according to the principles of the cosmos and the universe. Classification, action, or process of classifying something according to shared qualities or characteristics. The classification of disease according to symptoms. Now, why would they classify disease? That's crazy. Like, and then you have to sit there and think about it. Coming up with all these new strands of disease like monkeypox. I even seen one of my brother Neil mentioned, like freaking COVID-91. Yeah, like they're coming up with all these diseases and shit. And they all have a classification. And even in that sense, they even pick like what groups and what classes and areas that they want stuff to go to. It's just like Alter Carbon, there was a show, there was a part on where they were shipping like the vaccines, the animals was vaccinated or they had the disease in it, and they were shipping those animals through boxes. Barcodes had, antidotes and things of that nature had barcodes on it. All this stuff is commercial. Like that's what it's all about. And then when you think about, when you think of we saying Crayola, when I say Crayola, that's a small reference to color of law. All right. Okay, an appearance, a color of law to an appearance of legal power to act that may operate in a violation of the law. For example, if a police officer acts with the color of law authority to arrest someone, the arrest, if it is made without probable cause, may be in violation of the law. All right. Now, the thing about this stuff, what's so important that people never realize and they don't sit to think, is that you can't come and get into it with these folks being classified as a Negro or African American or anything that's a 14th Amendment jurisdiction. You can't come after these people like that. And this is why people tell folks to study, because you got people out here who know, and they're preying on people who don't know, getting them, trying to get them to pay money, or people charging them thousands of dollars a process, telling them that people should be free and things of that. Now, I was looking up person earlier. And people always, and this is another thing, when you study this stuff, bro, you're gonna realize that you always gonna circle back around to the same information. If you feel like somebody's repeating something, because when it all boils down to it, you have to remember certain things. You have to lock it into your memory bank and understand why this stuff is important. All right. Now, business, legal person is used frequently within the field of business law. Laws dealing with the business organization, i.e. corporations, partnerships, limited liability companies, etc. often use the term legal person so that the laws apply to human as well as non-human business entities. All right. Now, people just act like this stuff doesn't mean nothing, but you have to sit there and ask yourself, how did this stuff happen? Okay. A lot of people don't know about this stuff, such as a bill. And that's another thing too. Something about this, I just seen somewhere it mentioned like a lender definitions. Okay. A loans means for each eligible mortgage loan for either each, how long? A loans means for eligible mortgage loan and for each other promissory note secured by a mortgage allowance, and allowance in form reasonably satisfactory to the agent endorses said promissory note to the order of the agent for the benefit of the lenders. What's the lenders? Yes, I think no food somewhere else. We something all right. What is a lender? You look that up. A lender pretty much, it sounds like somebody who's lending some money, right? So, let me see. I heard Taj mention the definition of paper attached to an instrument to provide space for additional endorsements. What is endorsements? I keep looking this stuff up. Endorsements. Endorsement is an act of giving support. It can either be to someone or something. For example, endorsing any skills. It can also be the placing of a signature on the back of a check, bill of exchange, or other negotiable instruments to make it cashable or transferable. Excuse my language, y'all. So you sit there, you wonder, all right. Now y'all just sat there and peeped out what I just read out of all that, right? You have to sit there and understand what they was really doing with the birth certificate, and then make you think about what is the extra date that's on top of that birth certificate. Stuff get real serious. And it's simple. I know some days I go real fast through this stuff, but today I'm trying to keep my energy at a calm pace so people can catch on to what I'm saying. Let's see. Switch to view. Switch to view. Let me see. Large icons. There we go. All right. Let me see. What was that? Let me see. I'm trying to see what I'm looking for. I'm trying to see if I can find the PDF. A lot of times I go pull up information like I'm gonna print it, and I say it as a PDF. Legal maxims and phrases. Yeah. Hold off for a minute. See some Frankie. I'm trying to pull up this PDF that I have. It's this lady named Anna Vaughn Ritz or something like that. And she pretty much break down like what they was really doing with the birth certificate. The birth certificate is a banking instrument. Okay. The birth certificate is a banking instrument. And this is the reason why people need to understand their rights and understand your status and your state. Your status, your state of mind. All right. I ain't gonna be able to get to it. Just at this second. Let me see, 14th Amendment. All right. All persons born naturalized in the United States, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States in the state of which they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall bribe the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person with its jurisdiction the equal protection of laws. All right. They say this. Now, what is a citizen? Prefix. City. Let me see. City man. That's not what it is. But let's just look up what a citizen is, though. You don't want to get so caught up in saying you're a natural person. Maybe you could, but I prefer to say I'm one of the natural peoples. I prefer to go about it like that. A citizen is a person who, by place of birth, nationality of one or both parents, or naturalization, is granted full rights and responsibilities as a member of a nation or political community. All right. That's come straight from the Law Cornell website. Immigration law, constitution, individual rights, constitutional law. Um, Being indigenous, as I say, a lot of people don't talk about this, but I'm gonna say this for sure. Noble Ali did bring us more than enough that we needed to do to take care of ourselves. All right. And it all tie together while I'm kind of just all over the place, which I may be or I may not, but it all tie together. This is why we got to claim the titles of things about forefathers. And I'm really not big on the African American classification. Because for one, I'm gonna tell you why you can't be African American. Those are two, even though everything was all at once, but let's just talk about what we all commonly know now. There are two continents, for one. You were born in one. So the other title that you have or the part of American, how could you be African American? You was born on the American continent, right? Ugh, make sense. Like you can't be African American for one. You can't be of color. If y'all people trying to make this stuff seem like it's just such a joke, even if you're not a Moor or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It still should be common sense of why you should understand this stuff. Black American, relating to Black Americans. Wow, that's crazy. Nah, we weren't trying to go to all that. Let me see. This is the color black. All right. This the color black right here. My hair is probably that color, but my skin tone is not that color. All right. Of any human group having dark colored skin, especially of African or Australian Aboriginal ancestry, color or pigment. A member of dark skinned people, especially one of their Africans, has said the same thing. To make black. It don't make sense. Let's look at Moreno. That's like a Spanish definition. Brown, adjective, some tans, dusky, dark color. Moors, Moreno, a term in Spanish used to refer to individuals of dark skin tones. It is not considered offensive and is used as commonly Moreno. All right, even though it's one O in there. Make it make sense. Moors, Moreno, and you don't see nothing about no color in there. It say dark tone. It don't say dark skin color. All right, even in the Spanish language, they have more respect for what they calling us. In the English language, they bastardize all of our national, our titles and stuff like that in so many ways. So that's that. All right. And you really, why am I speaking about this stuff? Because everybody got like a mind or a state that they got that they can claim, but nobody understands this information. But these Europeans, they do. And so that's why they classify you as what they classify you as. So they can have jurisdiction over you because you have to understand. you get a group of people, a classification, and then you get to a point to where these people can create all these programs. Let's just look at program as a simulation, a system or a simulation. Healthcare programs, like Social Security history. Let me see. Tell me on the screen share. Let me stop sharing screen. Resharing share. All this stuff. They misclassify us to create all these different things, all these different governmental services to rob you of your estate. Anytime you put your social security number in, all that, all caps name. That's what it's all about. Yeah, excuse me. I've been sitting up in this area, you sit up in air for a long time, make you a little drowsy. But this is the reason why they do all these things. So when they pass laws saying that, oh, you can't do this, you can't really so much get mad at them because you didn't say anything to them about your correction of who you are. And that's why all this stuff is important. So they come up with a law saying that you have to do this. Most people is gonna have to just really just take it and deal with it. Hey. All right, I'm gonna read this. This is a sum out of beneficiaries of the vast estate created by the Prophet NDA, subject Moors, blacks, and African Americans. Real economics express, real economic empowerment through the express trust. Islam, it says Moors, Americans, in parentheses, blacks, or African Americans are the primary beneficiary of an extremely extensive fee simple estate conveyed to us in the express trust that was duly created in 1928 by the trust of Noah for our economical, political, and social redemption and regeneration. The said trust was duly created in conjunction with the statute of frauds and perjuries in the parole evidence rule and the legal requirements of the state of Illinois pursuant to the laws and the Constitution of the United States. That is said that the trust was lawfully created and is readily verified, but the land and fee simple estate actually conveyed to us in the express trust is a legacy of our forefathers, our birthright. According to the deed of conveyance, Holy Quran, chapter 47, verse 1 through 7, it compromises the title, the entire continental United States among other territories. It was put into legal institution known as an express trust to safeguard and thereby duly conveyed to us. I am the duly appointed trustee. I have actual possession of the title deed thereto, and accordingly, I, as trustee, have initiated the express trust performance. An important legal phrase of trust performance is presented before the state of Maryland Court of Special Appeal, case number Cal 97-01899. All right. All right, statutes of frauds. Let's read this right here in this in big print right here in this red print. It is chief characteristic is the provision that no suit or action shall be maintained on certain classes of contracts or engagements unless there shall be a note or memorandum thereof in writing signed by the party to be charged or by its authorized agent. Its object was to close the door to the numerous frauds and perjuries. Perjury shall consist in willingly, knowingly, absolutely, and falsely swearing either with or without laying the hand on the holy evangelist of Almighty God or affirming in a manner material to the issue of point in question. Parole evidence rule. Under this rule, parole or extrinsic evidence is not admissible to add to, subtract from, vary, or contradict judicial or official records or documents or right instruments which dispose of property or are contractual in nature and which are valid, complete, and unambiguous and unaffected by accident or mistake. All right, that was just something like the red print that stuff was talking about. Breaking it down. You can feel free to go look into that. of itself, but that's kind of breaking down what everything was created for. Okay, for examine a company pre-trial statement filed in the case by the trustee July 22nd, 1998. Therein described some of the primary issues tried before the court December 17th, 1998, issues related directly to you as a Moorish American, Black, African American, etc. This is important to us not only because it is our social security for the 21st century, it is who we are, it is our vast estate, our divine destiny, it's God's will, and that is true. All right. And if you understand trust, you can understand like how this stuff is like put together. Like it's not hard to understand. All right. The quantity of the estate, the noble drew. Hold on. The quantity of the estate, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is trusted, put in the express trust. He credited for the Moors in 1928 is a fee simple estate called a fee simple absolute. All right. I'm gonna get on this fee simple a little bit and I'm gonna jump off of it. I'm gonna come back to this in another video. Fee simple, random house, unabridged education. Definition 5, law in the state of an inheritance in land, either absolute and without limitation to any particular class of heirs, fee simple, or limited to a particular class of heirs, fee tail. Okay. To any particular, to, or limited to a particular. Okay. To a particular, any particular class. Okay. An inheritable estate and land held of the feudal lord on condition of performing certain services. The term fee simple defines the largest estate in the land known to law, and necessarily implies the absolute dominion over the land. There can only be one estate in fee simple to a particular tract of land. And in the state, in fee simple may be had either in corporeal or incorporeal hereditaments. A grant of the fee simple, however, carries with everything within or belonging to the land in the absence of exception or reservation. Since an estate in fee simple implies absolute sovereignty over the land, the power of alienation is necessarily and inseparably incidental thereto, and the unlimited condition of the restraint of alienation attached to such an estate is void. In some jurisdictions, the definition of a fee simple absolute is statutory. Some authorities define the estate from the standpoint of defining the owner or holder thereof, and likewise disclose the unlimited duration of the fee simple interest by stating that a tenant in fee simple is one who has lands or tenements to hold to him and his heirs forever. You got your little case law reference, reference. 2D, yeah. In 2D, in the United States, the common law rule requiring words of inheritance in the conveyance to pass a fee simple has never been applied to conveyance to a trustee. The estate taken by a trustee is measured by the trust and not by the presence or absence of words of inheritance. Hence, in any particular grant to a trustee for fee simple title is necessary to perform to the performance of a trust, a fee simple passes, even though the word heirs is not used in the conveyance. Okay. I'm gonna keep reading a little bit. Except, okay, in the United States, except in one or two states, property in various American jurisdictions by virtue of state constitutional provision, organic territorial acts incorporated into the legal system of the state, subsequently organized statutes and decisions of the courts is determined to be held allodial and absolute and direct dominion, subject only to its chief in the eventual failure of successors and ownerships. Feudal tenures did not and cannot exist. Feudal tenures do not and cannot exist as the Supreme Court has held. The holding of real property by the owner in fee simple in this country is from the state as the chief lord, the Lord paramount. You got your case law, I would say United States versus Repentini, or whatever, Repentini, or however you say his name. Whatever. All right, I'm gonna go to 4. After the Prophet created the express trust, he did the meeting, and at that meeting, he told the Moors, "I brought you everything it takes to save our nation. Take it to save yourself." In which he was holding up the Moorish Holy Quran and our authority. All right, and those two things. I cut the video. I ain't share screen. All right, what was I reading? Yep, this stuff. Hmm. Okay. All right. Constitutional guarantees. It goes in talking about this. A vested right within the meaning of the provision that the vested rights are within the protection of constitutional guarantees has been defined as an immediate fixed right of present. I don't know why present. You got present, you got the pronunciation present, you got the pronunciation present. The fixed right of present enjoyment or a present fixed right of future enjoyment. A right is vested when there is a certain person with the present right to a present or future enjoyment. If a right of property is actually vested, constitutional guarantees protected from such retrospective legislation as will impair it. Any such as ejectment is a possessory action. The plaintiff must show a right of possession that is present or intermediate, as well as the legal estate of property sought to be recovered. And unless both facts are established, the defendant must prevail. Anything which deprives a plaintiff of his present right to possession will deprive him of the remedy of ejectment. Eject law, a possessory action wherein the title to real property may be tried and the possession recovered. All right, the right of entry, not the entry itself, the right of possession, not actual possession, are the essentials of the action in ejectment. All right. Justin Ray, a right thing, Denver Joint, Stockland, Bank of Denver versus Dixon, 57 Wyoming, like it say 523, 122, P2D, 842. I guess it's probably section 842, 847, 140 ALR 1270. A right existing in the person with respect to an article or subject or property inherent in his relation to it, implying complete ownership of possession and available against all the world. This is what the prophet did. A lot of Moors is not too much going to speak about fee simple absolute. Because you got the movement is so fucking corrupted. You got people, excuse me, you got people that just want to sound fucking smart and they don't really want to help anybody. But let me see. Okay, the Express Trust. Rich, what's going on, Ma? Yes, sir. Let's say there are 6 instruments used by the trustee to establish the legal existence of an express trust created by the trustor. I'm gonna read this part, but if you're paying attention and you're reading along or you're reading yourself, you can see why this stuff is important. A lot of Moors don't talk about this. All right, certified copy of our, no, hold on. I took out too fast. Excuse me, people. There are 6 instruments used by the trustee to establish the legal existence of an express trust created by the trustor, Prophet and Overstanding in 1928 for the benefit of Moorish Americans. Benefits of Moorish. The instruments are okay. A certified copy of our authority, a Torah system registration, and abstractive title made directly from the Recorder of Deeds Office of Cook County, Illinois. Then see Smithsburg, Illinois, annotated statutes, chapter 32, section 165, 170, and 182. Under Article 4, Section 1 of the Constitution of the United States, this instrument must be given full faith and credit by the Circuit Court for Princess George County, Maryland as public official Maryland, by Circuit Court for the Prince George's County, Maryland, as official public acts of another sovereign state. This deed has been on record for over 30 years and coming from a natural and reasonable official custody. Therefore, it comes under the ancient document rule. Definitely gonna have to look into that. Write that down. Let's see, look up ancient document rule. That's cool. We're doing good. All right. A sealed copy of the Moorish Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America, prepared by the trustor and Overstanding, and this sealed instrument. Specifically, chapter 47 is the actual deed of conveyance. Chapter 47 is the actual conveyance part of the deed. Sections 1 through 7 contain the premises of the deed. In section 6, the original grant is made to the ancestors, Moabites, of the present true owners, Moorish Americans. In section 7, the trustee gives a description of the estate by metes and bounds. Also see sections 10 through 17. This is unequivocally a fee simple estate. The trust or Overstanding affixing the seal to this instrument constitutes a prima facie showing that the instrument is the act of the corporation. See seal generally 23 AM, 2D, section 27. Due weight must be given to all words used by the trustor in determining his intention. The object of construing the instrument creating the trust is to ascertain the intent and purpose of the settler and to effectuate that purpose insofar as it consists with the rules of law. If the trustor has clearly expressed one intention, the court cannot impute to him another. Gillespie versus Smith 29. What they say? I could say 3, 4, 7, but like I say I-11 or something like that. 4, 7, 76, 2D, section 17, construction. Let me see. Axis of the divine constitution and bylaws of the Moorish American. Let me see. That's the third thing. Act 6 of the divine constitution and bylaws of the Moorish Science Temple of America, recorded on page 8 of the Holy Quran. Questions for Moorish Americans. This instrument and acting clearly identify the true owners of the land and trust property described in chapter 14, described in chapter 47, the actual deed of conveyance. These are the words of the trustor identifying the beneficiaries of the trust property describing their land in greater state. This acting instrument identify one of the primary terms of trust. With us, all members must proclaim the nationality as mentioned above, and the possibly identifies the beneficiaries. All right. The truster's edict recorded in the Moorish literature pamphlet, page 11. He issued at the 1928 convention announcing his authority and power. In first clause of the second paragraph is where the trustee derives its authority and power and is directly from the trustor, Prophet and Overstanding specifically. He said, all authority and power of the Moorish Science Temple of America vests in Overstanding and those he appoints to act as a supreme body. This is positive law. Although the trustor had to repose the legal title and trustee, the trustee did not have to be named. Notwithstanding, Frank Lewis L. Bay was designated trustee in accordance with manners in which The said trust was created. In other words, the trustee may be indicated and assume responsibility as such within the express designation. Let me see. That is one of the advantages of the trust institution. Technical or particular words or phrases are not required or essential to the manifestation of an intention of a seller to create a trust. Knowledge of the express trust existence was supposed in the trustee Frank Louis L. Bay, enabling him through study, revelation, and action to recover. In the 1978 and 1981, he was delivered a certified copy of the trust instrument with muniments of the title and accepted them. Thus, the legal title vested in him. However, under Illinois law, legal delivery and vesting legal title in the trustee in this particular case relates back to August 1st, 1928, the date instruments were deposited. Clark versus Clark 183. Okay, I'm sorry. When it said that's Illinois. That's what that was. Illinois 448, 56 Northeast 82, C23 MJR 2D, Section 284, page 318, Muniments Law. A document as a title or deed or charter by which rights or privileges are defined or maintained. Okay, I really haven't read too deep into this, but this is some powerful stuff because I really didn't understand trust as much as I did. I'm starting to now. And I'm still studying. I don't want nobody to follow me. You can do your own research. If anybody ever watched this video, want this information, just email me or hit me up on Facebook. Because most of the time, this is why I'm sharing my stuff and on Facebook. I'm trying to learn this stuff because I haven't read too deep into it, but I might need to make sure I have these things myself. Whereas a deed is placed in the hands of a third person who is agent for the grantor alone. The delivery dates from delivery to the grantee, not from delivery to the agent, especially as between the grantee and the claimant of immediate right. On the other hand, where the deed was irrevocably deposited, ultimate delivery to the grantee relates back to the time of the original delivery. Where the grantor delivers the deed to a third person with the intention that the title thereby pass to the grantee, but the recipient has no authority to receive the deed in behalf of the grantee. The grantee may ratify what was done in its behalf, and the imperfect delivery thereupon becomes complete and perfected. Therefore, by judicial interpretation, the vesting of the legal title on the Frank Louis L. Bay's trustee not only relates back to the date the trust of Prophet NDA recorded the deed August 1st, 1928, but his appointment is made thereby by the trustee himself. This is how Frank Louis L. Bay received his appointment as trustee directly from the trustor, Prophet NDA, even though he wasn't born at that time, nor was he born before the trustor passed. That appointment makes Frank Louis L. Bay today the only living appointee of the founding Moorish Science Temple of American trustor, the Prophet NDA. The trustor, Prophet NDA, recorded the deed August 1st, 1928. After that, he called a meeting with the Moors. At that meeting, he held up the Quran and authority and said, take these and save yourself. See oral statement number 1 in the oral statements of prophecy. The oral statement of the Prophet NDA. Thereby the trustors and NDA named to pass the titles legal and equitable to the Moors by divesting himself of giving over control, the legal title vesting and trustee and equitable interest in the beneficiaries, although their real enjoyment was taken took place in the future. The trustor, Prophet NDA, said, it would take you 50 years to find out what I brought you. Excuse me. All right. Acts 4 and 5 of the Divine Constitution of the Moorish Science Temple of America. 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government, because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. This organization, the Moorish Science Temple of America, is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and the Constitution of the said government, to obey hereby the oral statements and the prophecies of the Noble Ali, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Incorporated, and the Trust of the Express Trust is created in 1928 for Moorish American. Special see oral statements 1, 120, 230. 1. Prophet Noah, let's say I brought you. Okay, we read that, of course. All right. Sister M. Howell, Temple 19 said that the Holy Prophet told the Moors, I brought you your nationality, your religion, and title to your vast estate. What do you want me to do? Kill you? The Prophet had done everything for us except kill us. 230, Booker T, Booker Bay, GNT, Emeritus said that the Prophet, Holy Drali, the Holy Prophet, Noble Drali said the Moors once ruled the world. I get ready to rule again, but this time it's going to be done in the love, true peace, freedom, and justice. All right. I'm a cancel it right there. But yes, that's what the prophet is about. And a lot of more can talk about that. And I do know that these Europeans, they did study that demonstration, but that's how they set their demonstration up. You gotta understand, create parasites leech, use stuff, it goes on. The devil try to duplicate what God does and reverse the you know, reverse the approach, I believe, and perverts it. I'm gonna read this little excerpt, and I'm actually gonna turn this into a series. I'm gonna make this a series, and this is gonna be part one of the video. I jumped in all that because I was talking about the estate. When you have a mind full of more science and you understand the laws, the Quran, you can reference the oral statements that the prophet made. You understand trust. You can understand why understanding the word of a state and understanding how trust is and how it operates is highly important for you yourself as an individual. But a lot of people don't talk about this type of stuff. All right, you're supposed to create your own express trust for your own family and line it up with what the prophet brought, because that's your duty. That's why I'm not sure which one it was. I think the prophet said express your trust in one of the in those word statements. I don't want to say that, but I do remember him saying it. Because when you create your own trust, you control the board. But when you got people like these British men, it's like you got to kind of peek out the scenario, right? Because our ancestors with the war with these Englishmen and stuff for years. All right, those people, they went through the dark ages over there, stuff like that, right? Or whatever the case they want to talk about, however they put it in history. They sent spy agents over here saying that they're seeking independence from their oppressor over there in Britain and stuff like that. And then so on. Our people wrote the Constitution for them, gave them statutes and limitations. But then you also had people that looked like, us, that was dark melanated amongst them, that was a part of the infantry. So you sit there and think about that. You got people coming up with these misclassifications. And what it's doing is taking people out of place, out of line with what the ancestral images brought us. So they come over here, establish independence, and they put what you call an American Bar Association, which they come up with all these draconic laws. And you think of something, when you think of the word Draco, draconian, it's pretty much on something that sucks life out of something. Just like a vampire, it's a draconian type creature. It bites your neck, it sucks blood out your blood from you for them to maintain life. It's the same scenario with what's going on. We got the same scenario going on. The same scenario. Like that's what it is. Like they creating all these laws. So the Bar Association, when you look at what the Bar Association stands for, and you realize every country freaking has one. And why is that? Can't stress this enough. In Britain, legal professionals are known as barristers. They were summoned to the bar to advocate for the interests of their clients during legal proceedings. The bar is an association of lawyers who are licensed to practice. Bar is a British accreditation registry. That's what it stands for. British Accreditation Registry. That's what it's for. And almost every city of, county of, state of fucking has one. Arkansas American Bar Association. That's who the fuck we really warm with over here. The fucking Bar Association. Cause they're making up all these laws and shit. It's like, it's kind of like on John Wick. You got the Continental and you got the high table. The Continental does what everybody can see on the forefront, but they take orders from the high table, people that nobody see who's up in high rank. Even these sororities are estates, low key fraternities, anything of that nature are estates. That's what they are. But you just want to think about it. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how they set it up, even if they doing unrighteous shit, a lot of this shit is set up as businesses doing crimes in the private. They set it up as business in the public, and then they do business in the private and sweep it under the rug. You don't know who is who because a lot of people tied to these motherfucking societies or corporations. But I can't really say that these people are having a state because I'm really on the land over here. But I'm just saying, like, as far as them occupying certain parts of land or wherever they go, they understand, like, everybody that's in sororities and these societies and fraternities, they understand trust, like, trust me. But that's why this stuff is in secret society, secret, or a society of secrets. That's what the shit is all about. All right. So that's why I'm explaining all this stuff, because this is the reason why they wanted to make people forget this stuff. So that way they can come over here, rule over them, take over them, take advantage of them. And they've been doing this shit for generations and generations, and nobody corrected them about it. And that's why we have to correct them about it. All right. So I need one Sunday. Why y'all so loud? Is what I'm asking. She right there in front of you, and you talking loud as fuck. That shit there be fucking annoying, bro. All right, as a derivative of commercial law being removed from natural law, therefore inferior is common law. Common, co together, union, service, gift exchange to exchange together. This emerged basically in England out of disputes over a portion of the earth and allodium sovereign ownership of land, and was based on common sense. So common law is the law of the earth. Common law gave the rise to the jury system and many recent processes which government have absorbed and statutized and made into rules and regulations, processes, and courts. Common law procedures was based on the opportunity to face your accuser or the injured party in front of witnesses to sort out the problem directly. This process was never intended to include lawyers or attorneys or judges construing their own law, as these titles are all based upon the fiction of representation, which could never be the real thing. All right, after common law came governments and their laws and legislative regulations ad infinitum of the organic republic of the states. The only laws that the state can create is to allow commerce to flow more efficiently within the state. Within the state. The only law the central government, United States of America, you see that lowercase to U, could create was to allow commerce to flow more efficiently between the states, like from Arkansas state to Utah state, or Illinois state to California state, or Georgia state to Florida state. Okay. And it was never intended to regulate people, and that's what they're doing now, the sovereigns. All right. Below that, the garbage froth or froth, more or less, is politics and a private copyrighted company of foreign, private copyrighted company policy of foreign corporations such as United States, the state of, the county of, the city of, etc. The purpose of these municipalities, Munis, service, give, exchange, compare to take service in exchange, is to govern fictitious entities such as John Doe and Kmart, not to regulate people. Remember back when you thought that you were John Doe because that is how it's written on your driver's license. One of our problems is that when we engage with the government, municipalities, and other such elements in all our dealings in law, we have been conditioned to interact on and in their level. We have never risen to the level where the base of law is, where the reality, the power, the solidity, and the preeminence exists, the sovereign's level. But now we can function in this powerful level. This is checkmate. This is the end game. This is the remedy. We ain't got to speak too much on commerce, but I do want to pull up one of these maxims that they mentioned for people. And this is stuff in the Bible. You can pull it up. But these are our maxims allowed. You can probably pull this stuff up. You type this stuff in right on YouTube, it's gonna come up. All right. Okay, I'm gonna start with the second one. The second maximum is equality before the law, or more precisely, all are equal under the law. God's law, moral and natural law. Exodus 21, 23, 25. Leviticus 24, 17 and 21, them verses. Deuteronomy 1, 17, verse 17. Deuteronomy 19, verse 21. Matthew 22, 36 through 40 verses. Luke chapter 10, verse 17. Colossians 3, 25. No one is above the law. This is founded on both natural and moral law, and is binding on everyone. For someone to say or act though as he is above the law is the same. This is the major insanity in the world today. Man continues to live, act, believe in foreign systems, organizations, government laws, and processes which presume to be able to supersede or abrogate natural law or moral law, but under commercial law, natural law or moral law are binding on everyone, and no one can escape it. Commerce by the law of nations ought to commerce by the law of nations ought to be common. Ought to be common and not to be converted into a monopoly in the private gain of a few. And that's what's going on. All right. This is one of the most confident maxims one can have in your foundation of your peace of mind and security and your capacity to win and triumph. To get ready in this business. In commerce, truth is sovereign. Exodus 20:16 Psalms. I ain't gonna read the verses, you see it. Truth is sovereign, and the sovereign tells only the truth. Your word is your bond. If you were not sovereign, if the truth were not sovereign in commerce, all human actions and human relations, there will be no basis for anything, no basis for law and order, no basis, no accountability. There will be no standards. That's a big word. No basis, no accountability. What a lot of fucking people in this lifetime got a problem with. There will be no standards, no capacity to resolve anything. It will mean anything goes, each man for himself, and nothing matters. That's worse than the law of the jungle. Commerce, to lie is to go against the mind. Oriental proverb, of all that is good, sublimity is supreme. This is gonna be the last one I'm gonna read, and I'm gonna end it right here. Truth is expressed in the form of an affidavit. This is why we telling y'all that paperwork is important. And your paperwork isn't one thing, but it's about who you send it to. Who is you sending your paperwork to? If you sending your paperwork to the governor, is you sending it to the prime minister? Is you sending it to the U.S. Attorney General? You sending it to the Attorney General of your state? Who is you sending your paperwork to? So this is one of the things that explains that these maxims of law. Once again, if a person watches this video, you want this information, then boom, I can give it to you. And I'm even read. Let me see. All right. Truth is the form and expression of affidavit An affidavit is your solemn expression of your truth in commerce. An affidavit must be accompanied and must underlay and form foundation for any commercial transaction whatsoever. There can be no valid commercial transaction without someone putting their neck on the line and state that this is true, correct, and complete, and not meant to mislead. When you issue an affidavit, it is a two-edged sword. It cuts both ways. Someone has to take responsibility for saying that it is a real situation. It can be called a true bill, as they say in the grand jury. When you issue an affidavit in commerce, you get the power of an affidavit. You also incur the liability because this has to be a situation where other people might be adversely affected by it. The things in your affidavit in which are going to affect people's lives. If what you say in your affidavit is in fact not true, then those who are adversely affected by it, affected can come back at you with justifiable recourse because you lied and you have told the lies if it were the truth. People depend on your affidavit and then they have lost because you lied. You know, unrebutted affidavit stands as truth in commerce. Claims made in your affidavit, if not rebutted, emerge as the truth of matter. He who does deny admits. The unrebutted affidavit becomes the judgment in commerce. There is nothing left to resolve any proceeding in court, tribunal, or arbitration. Form consists of a contest or dual or commercial affidavits wherein the points remaining unrebutted in the end stand as true and matters to the matters to which the judgment of law is applied. All right. And this is why you can't be black, because black is an adjective. You try to make it seem like you being too smart. They done dumb the world down so bad that they make it seem like the motherfucker being too smart is something bad. Like that's crazy as hell. Knowing that this shit is a color. Or they calling us a color saying we black people, and that's an adjective. They ain't got no proper, and for a person to not have the common sense to pay attention to it, it's crazy. Anytime you looking up something, you can always type an example, click on images, just to get an idea to see what a person is talking about. And they say they got a certified judge. A certified judge and pretty much is like you get a notary to do it, pretty much letting the person know, because you have to give a person like 22 days to respond from the time they receive it. If they don't respond, you just do a judge saying that they was unrebutted, and that's why you do your registered mail numbers. But with all that being said, this is part one of this ain't no one video subject. I could talk about this shit forever. And all I'm gonna be doing is going back to what the Prophet brought, and then I'm gonna break down on what these people did, the acts and treaties and shit that they came up with, trying to pretty much drain us out of all our energy and drain us of our state. It's a lot of stuff I'm still learning, so I don't want to seem like a guru on this shit or none of that. I just rather help people study with me along the way. So this is part one. Codified Crayola classifications. You can use not no crayon. That's why Trayvon Martin. That's why George the Trayvon Martin situation. That's why George Zimmerman got off. In a situation where officer killed the black person, they not getting off. It doesn't make a difference how mad you get about it, because you classified as livestock, as an animal or as property or something like that. Not even a real human. You know what I'm saying? I don't even like to use a real human. I'm man, but whatever. But you know, that's why, because your classification, they own you. You know, that's what they did. When you signed that birth certificate, you lended them access to your estate. Your mom lended them access. Your mom or your mother lended them access to your estate, but nobody was never aware of this. And this is why we're trying to make people aware of this stuff, so you can stop being so fucking shaky about what they hopping on TV talking about. Because if there is a way for you to make a way out, or you got something put up in reserve or whatever you think your case may be, you can invest in this information and make it through a storm. But a lot of people not gonna do that. And that's just how it goes. So this it, brother Yalan, want to jump into it, talk about little stuff, look up a few little definitions, explain why, once again, why status is important, because it's your state of mind. And it's like I understand I understand that I cannot be African Negro, African American, Ethiopian, a colored person, or none of that, because I come directly from God. I made of the dust of the ground. Genesis, what is that? 1:26-28, or Genesis, somewhere in Genesis 2, we talk about that. I made up of the stars of the dust on this earth, and my energy comes from the stardust above. I have astrological connection to God through the stars, or whatever, however you want to put it. This is all these reasons of why you connected to nature. Is the reason why you can't be no Negro, black, color, African American. You can't be no corpse or none of that. You alive through God. That's what keep you alive every day, the frequency of God. And that's how they roll. Peace, love, and light, Islamism.